There he is. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to what episode are we?
189.
189. Yeah, episode 189. We're coming up on the 200. We'll be here before you know it. I know me and Steve have looked to calculate when 200 would be several times, but I ain't wrote it down, and so I can't remember. But anyway, we're glad you guys showed up today. I don't have a whole lot of interesting stuff to share with you other than I did get my stove covers caught up. I've got most of my review stuff done, but I've been doing some renovations in the house, and so I'm still busy. Unfortunately, I've got some project ideas that I wanted to do, but I'm also trying to retrofit a room in the house to act as my business office slash, Steve doesn't have to sleep on the couch room if he comes over. Because the last couple of times Steve came over, he had to stay in a motel or a camper. This is the first time in 15 years, 16 years, 15, almost 16 years that I have had a room in the house that wasn't used for somebody to sleep in. So we're retrofitting that into an office slash guest room. And we got to have a guest room because, just in case somebody shows up or needs a place to crash, or my kid comes, to visit, or, whatever. But I am going to have my own little dedicated space. And I was really surprised when my wife allowed me to go and pick out the color, because we built this house in 2005.
Newsflash, it's orange.
And we built the house in 2005. And I know my wife well enough to know that she's going to pick the colors out. So I just kind of abstained from any input other than, yes, baby, that looks good. But this go around, I went yesterday to Lowe's and picked out my own color, had to mix it up, the whole 9 yards. And so there it is. It actually, she likes it. So I'm happy about that, because I wanted to pick a color that was kind of neutral, that did look good with orange accents. And so I picked out what is called, what was it called now? Grizzly gray. So there it is. It looks like slate, but it's called grizzly gray apparently. So that's what I've had going on. I mean, other than that, stove covers, but I got them delivered yesterday morning before I went to Lowe's to get my paint. And so that's what I've been working on today. We still got some work to do because neither one of us are professional painters. So it's not like we can just like whip that paint up there and be done with it. It takes us a little while to get the fine details worked out. So we're going to finish that, and then I'll be slowly migrating over, moving my desk and stuff like that over into the room. So we'll see. So how's things been going on your end over there?
Well, okay. I had forgotten until after we were done with our live last week that I had a road trip last week for work that I was gone half the week. And so I had planned on a few more things, but then quickly realized I'm going to be missing out on a few days of shop time. So I had to go over to Winona, Minnesota, which is along the Mississippi River. Had some their CIO meetings for the system, but we were also meeting with the CFO finance group, and so it was a whole thing about the system of colleges and universities that I work for and such. So that kind of took a lot of time away from me this week, but I did get some more setup done on the Onefinity. And I even I think I put out a Facebook teaser on this. I ran a quick job with it. Matter of fact, can you grab that? So just did a little pocketing, a low job with the 1/8" down cut or up cut bit. Actually, honestly, I don't remember because I wasn't going to use one of the Jenny bits on the first run just in case I screwed something up. But it ran fine. Once I got things worked out, it ran fine. The spindle ran fine. Everything turned on. I don't have dust collection set up on it yet. That's kind of the next step. But when I got back, there's like a whole mess of cables on the side of that. And So I went ahead and 3D printed some little cable management brackets and dressed that up a little bit. And now I just need to kind of figure out what my dust collection setup's going to look like. And honestly, I probably don't need to worry too much about that right away because I really need to get it back into, it's going to go over that way, where I have access to multiple 20 amp circuits. And then we'll really rock with it there. But over there, it'll be easier to hook it up so you can kind of just barely see my dust collector. It'll be easier to attach it to that over there rather than this corner. So excited to get that set up and working more. But I was able to at least get one first cut to make sure everything was kind of operating right. And now it's kind of like let's get the details dialed in and dive into some projects with it here shortly. So I'll hopefully, like I say, if I kind of just hack the dust collection together from now to run it, I might get kind of an initial video out on, you know, what I thought of the build, what I think about this versus my older one, and maybe some getting a couple of quick test cuts done and get that out there, and then be able to dive into some real projects with it. But I'm excited. It's a pretty cool machine. So far everything's working nice, and looking forward to that. And also I did a quick kind of impromptu live stream yesterday. Sculpt Fun did send out their E1 enclosed laser. Well, it's actually their E1 Pro. They have two versions. One's a 12 watt, one's a 21 watt. Why those denominations, I don't know. But and then it has a swappable module with a 3 watt IR. So I was doing some testing yesterday, decided, hey, let's go live. And a few people joined in and we're checking that out. So be doing some testing on that and getting some information out about that one. And just this afternoon, I thought it was timely. I've had it for a little over a month, but I did get I do have air conditioning out here, as we've alluded to in the past. It's not a mini split. Yeah. Well, it was really good timing on that because we had a brief little heat wave. Then we had a couple weeks cooled off, and I was like, okay, I need to get something in here. I can't go a couple months out here with the heat. And so I found a good portable air conditioner that has a twin duct, so it does the compressor cooling a little bit better with drawing in outside air and dumping out the hot air instead of pulling from the interior air. It also has a inductive what am I thinking? The compressor. I just mowed my lawn, so I'm still a little warm. It's got a lot of features to it. It's a smart air conditioner. I can remotely turn it on. So when I was coming home from Winona the other day and I knew I was going to be out here halfway there, I was getting gas. I'm like, hey, let's kick on the AC. And it's been working pretty well. So I put a video out there kind of just showing what it's about, what I did. And the nice thing is this doesn't require, if you've got a window, this doesn't require any like adding holes in your walls for a mini split. There's no putting a bracket on the outside of your window to hang a window air unit, things like that. If you're in like a place where you're renting a space and you need like minimal to no damage from mounting an air conditioner, this might be a decent option. Runs on 110 volt power here in the US. So yeah. Anyway, so that video's out there as well because we're all dealing with hot heat waves this summer. And I know some people have been looking at options. This one was about $500 on Amazon, and it's been doing pretty good. So that's kind of what I've been up to this week, other than doing a little playing with some 3D printing stuff and just kind of doing a little bit of playing for some tutorial type videos I want to do. Just playing around with some new ideas and such. I did put one out there on a new way of doing these little exhaust adapters. It's all parametric modeling, so you don't have to, you just need to do a few measurements, type it in, it does all the modeling for you. So
yeah, it looks pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean as long as you measure things right, punch it in, I mean, it gives you a 3D image of what you're looking at. It's really hard to screw that up unless you, like I say, unless you screw up your measurements.
Ooh, I had my mic turned way up. I just realized that. That may be why it was loud earlier on you. It's probably when I was doing my cleaning earlier. I probably touched it because it got dusty in here this week.
That'll happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get that room done to where I can move the Eufy make into the house because I'm still paranoid about all the dust out here. So far, it's not bothering the 3D printers, but I know that the print heads on that UV printer is a lot more sensitive to getting clogged up and all that. So it really concerns me that thing's out here. So I'm hoping to get that room organized, and I'm going to get me a little setup in there to where I can move UV printing, anything that don't need to be in the dust. I can go ahead and take it in the house. And then hopefully even put me a little bit of because I've got a little small computer in there, and I think it'll do okay as far as doing like a live, as long as it's a simple live. I don't know if I could do a lot of screen sharing and stuff on that computer because it's very bare bones. But yeah. So
well, the one I did mine yesterday, that's an older desktop computer.
Yeah.
It does have at the time, gosh, how old is that? 6 to 7 year old graphics card in there. Nothing by today's standards, but if you keep yourself in check, and that's the thing I want to do down in that basement area is I'm trying to clear a few more things out. It was great when we did the meetup. I was able to get some of those machines out of because that kind of becomes my storage room. It was great to get some of those machines out of there, and I do want to set it up kind of like you're doing. I want to move. I'd like to have at least one laser in there, maybe a diode and a CO2 if I can fit it. But then also I'd like to have a 3D printer in there, maybe even a small CNC machine. We'll see. But just kind of an area that it's easier for me to demonstrate these things, that I don't like, oh, hey, let me show you this 15 feet away on that side of the shop. That space is a little more cozy.
Yeah.
And things can be a little bit closer together, but we'll see.
Well, I'm not going to be putting any lasers, 3D printers, or CNCs in there because, like I said, right now it's a dual purpose room. It's going to be guest bedroom to the left, and my desk, and maybe a UV printer, and of course my label printer and my regular paper printer that I use for invoices and stuff like that. I'll have all of that in there, but other than that, there's not going to be a whole lot of room. I mean, I guess if I had something else that I was reviewing, I could take it in there, set it up, review it, and then as long as nobody came over to stay the night, I could technically leave it set up for a day or two. But it's gonna be very limited until I get more space, and hopefully this little addition of an extra office area will give me enough time to I'm hoping within the next 5 years I can build me another shop and kind of migrate everything from this into another shop, and this will go into like family storage, lawn care equipment, stuff like that, and the other shop will be my my full-time shop. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, hopefully the other occupants of your house don't mind the manufacturing smells from 3D printing and UV printing.
There won't be any 3D printing in there because I'm leaving them out here.
Oh, I thought you said you were maybe moving one of those in there too. So
no, I ain't got the room for that.
All right. Well,
they seem to be. They're doing fine. Now that I've got both of them are enclosed, they're not having any problems. I was a little concerned with the cooling on the X2D because it does pull air in from outside to cool, but so far it hasn't caused me any issues. So
I mean the UV printer can be a little industrial. I've had my family comment on that, when it's in heavy use. So just keep that in mind for something you might need to address.
If it arises, I will, but I'm hoping it doesn't. Right now it smells like paint in there. So let's see what we got. Comments over here.
I grew up with two older sisters, in the 80s and 90s, and perms.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that stuff smells bad.
The nearest I could compare it to is epoxy resin curing, and I'm just like, that is just a horrible chemical smell.
Yeah, and you're cooped up in the house with it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's asking a question. Says, Steve, I may have missed it, but did you get the riser and chuck for the master to review?
Yeah, you can You just see it right here.
Yeah.
So so again, this is they had sent me a pre-production machine, so there was a little bit of tweaking I had to do to make sure it would fit on the base. Fun, but yeah, the laser's on the riser, and I did a quick, really brief test of I put some tape on a tumbler and put the chuck in there, and it did work. So I need to get it set up and do some more testing with that. And then the sling bed is also it's off screen. It's over there. I got that built. So I'm hoping by the end of the month to be able to put something out on that. I've got some overlapping things because of delays with some and others. So I'm trying to work through that in a manner that doesn't just go review. But yeah, hopefully in the next few days. And I'll be putting out, if you're not following me on Facebook, I put a lot of little teasers out there of like what's going on, like here's a little sample. If it's really good, I try to maybe make a quick YouTube short out of it as well. So, definitely follow there for a little bit of extra kind of sneak preview information of what's going on. Rob says October 4th is the 200th episode. And that's where Clack's going to give away his F-150, I hear. I believe that was an exclamation of cheer and joy that he can't wait to do that.
That thing's not light. So you're talking about the UV printer. I bet that thing can handle it. What do you bet? Yeah. Those are not light. That is not your portable. Take it with you to an event unless you got a hand trucks to put it on.
It's got wheels.
Yeah, it does have wheels, but like you're not gonna roll it across the grass. Those little wheels right there ain't gonna do well in grass. I can tell you that now. Those are hard floors, hard surface only. But yeah, I do got that if I needed to do some UV printing because it's got several. What's it got? 2 or 3?
It's got 2 carbon filters. It's got a HEPA filter. It's got a particulate filter, and then on the top it has that wire mesh filter on there, which is kind of nice. So that kind of helps cut down on the or it extends the life of the other filters because you can kind of rinse that off that top one. But
yeah, so there you go.
So yeah,
that is not light.
We'll both be running some, so I'm going to hook that up to probably both the master. I've got the RF Omni one there. I've got some of the other diodes, like the Alien Cell and others that I can hook mine up to. I want to run it through a multitude of lasers, see how it handles, but also I told them, I said, I got to run this thing. You're not going to get a 2-day run on it and have me saying this is the best thing out there. I got to put
I at least want to see. I mean, because I don't know that depending on how long it takes, I don't know that I'll like just, stop up all the filters in it necessarily, but I want to see, okay, I've been running it for 2 or 3 hours. Can I smell anything? Because, a lot of the little small ones that we typically deal with, within an hour or two, you can start smelling it. And then within like 4 or 5 hours, it gets bad for some of the really cheap ones. So now like the AP2, and even the Creality Falcon one I've been running, it's doing a really good job. Now I try not to run the Creality Falcon or the AP2 on anything that's real cut heavy because it generates so much more smoke. I try to keep those to engrave only machines. But this guy, I think this one's going to definitely be doing some cutting machine filtering as well because it's big enough it should be able to handle it. Yep. So yeah, y'all keep asking us about different brands, and when they reached out, me and Steve both were like, "Hey, this is our chance." So. But it is definitely not small. It's the size of a mini fridge too.
I mean, there's a clack for scale, but that doesn't necessarily give the best representation of its size.
Hey, it's almost the Steve tall.
Yeah. Well, Rob Wilson says we keep getting him in trouble. Now went down the 3D rabbit hole Bamboo P2S and is wondering, Clack, any helpful hints?
I mean, I like mine. It's very I will tell you this: if you have the AMS, I don't know if you got the AMS. He didn't say for sure, but if you have the AMS 2 Pro, go ahead and go to Maker World or whatever and download the spool pods and the inserts for the AMS 2 and go ahead and print them out and order you a couple of pounds of desiccate and load that baby down with desiccate. I dried mine before I went to Steve's house on both of my machines, the X2D and the P2S. I ran a drying cycle on both of them right before I left to go out of town, and I haven't had to do anything to them. And both of them, when I checked them, because I try to check them at least once a week, I checked them yesterday, and I think both of them were at 2% humidity, like relative humidity inside the enclosures inside the AMS. So, okay, looks like which one is this? The P2S looks like it might be at 7% now. But now it's been raining today too. So let me show y'all. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So like right here, I'm wondering if it's, let me see if it'll update with this one. All right. So you can see right here, it's at 2% humidity in my X2. That's the X2D. It's at 2%. If I go over here to my P2S, it's at 7 right now. But now I did just add, that's another thing too. I just added a brand new roll of Pet G to that one yesterday. It ran out. So I do need to run a drying cycle on that one. But the cool thing about the P2S and the X2D is with its AMS2. So like right here, I can say, okay, so this is the P2S. So I run Pet G because you have to pick the type of filament, and you want the type of filament to be the filament with the lowest melting point that you have in there. So if you're running PLA and Pet G in your AMS, you need to set it for PLA. And then you set it for however many hours. Like I'm going to do 65 degrees for 12 hours. Hit start. And it's basically going to do a fact check for you and say, yes, all of these are compatible with this setting. Like you can see here where it's showing Pet G, Pet G, Pet G, Pet G. If you, let's say I tried to run ABS. All right. Well, actually, oh, wait a minute. Pet G and ABS have the same. Okay, wait a minute. ASA, that's a hot one. Well, actually, I guess crap. I don't have any PLA in there. But if the temperature that you're trying to run is too hot for the material that's in there, then it won't let you start. It'll check this out. I can show you on the other machine with the other. And so I can hit start, and it's basically going to close or open the little valves in there, and it's going to start drying for 12 hours. So that is by far the coolest thing about these machines. And like my X2D, I actually have the what is it called? AMS HT. Yeah. And so that one, for some reason, stays a little drier, but this one has got support material, that PLA support material. So I have to just put it as PLA and hit start on that one because that stuff has a melting point of PLA. And then you hit start and it's drying the filaments. So I don't have to remove the filaments from the machine. I don't have to do anything to it. And it'll sit right there and dry the filaments. And with the desiccate in there, if you have it loaded down with desiccate, because I got the pods in the front and the back, like I got the little inserts that go into the spools. There's probably 1.5 pounds of desiccate in both of my AMSs, and it stays dry. Like I'm 10% or less almost always. So it's been a lot easier to manage. Because I I have found that wet filament caused me more failed prints than anything. So,
and this is one of the areas where David and I are going to disagree on things. It is good to dry your filament, but you can over dry filament, and it can also cause problems. So it's working for him. That's great. I try to aim for more, get it to 10 to 20%, and that's good enough. But yeah, if you over dry filament, it can actually lose some of its flexibility and get brittle and cause some problems too. So we do disagree on from time to time.
yeah, it's working. It's working for me. Like I said, I did my research, and it was one of those half of one, six of the other, half a dozen of one, six of the other, and I've went for the lower's better, and so far it's doing me a great job. The only problem I have with my X2D was the software changed the cooling settings for the support material, and it was causing some chafing on my PETG. But since I've adjusted temperatures on that, it's doing great. So I think the P2S is awesome if you're not wanting to do a bunch of multicolored stuff. But the P2S or the X2D aren't going to be your best bet if you're planning on doing like 5 colors in one project. Those machines, they can do it, but you're going to have a lot more purge material and stuff like that. But I love mine. Most of my stuff are utilitarian prints anyway. It's not like I'm printing a lot of, different things. This is one of my inventions I come out with. These are just magnets that you can screw to a surface. And so then if you have a ruler or something, you don't have to you just stick it wherever you want it. Those are the type of things that I make now. I don't do as much of the artsy stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't do it.
Mark is asking, hello guys, any of you clock receive on the list for receiving the X-Tool Omni 1? If I am unaware of it. So no, I haven't heard from X-Tool in a while. I had reached out to them about their tour that came through here in Minnesota and didn't really hear back from them. So I'm just doing my thing.
They reached out to me and say I'm getting one, but they're currently giving out because I told them I didn't want a beta machine. I didn't want a prototype. So what I was told, the last email I got said that the betas were out there. Some of the prototype first run machines have been released, and that the people that are in their partner program, which are the ones that signed up to do the 16 videos a year and all the stuff that I refused to do, they did say that they were giving priority to their partner program people. So I know from what I've saw, a lot of their folks that are in their partner program have gotten one, but I'm not in it. So I'll be probably after they all get one. If I get it, I don't know. But X-Tool did reach out to me and asked me if I would take one. And we'd been back and forth for about a year over this partner program because I didn't want to sign their contract. And so for a while there, they weren't really I wasn't on their radar. So recently I have started having some communications with them, but I haven't got a shipping notification or anything. So we'll see. And if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, then, like I said, I have my rules.
Well, we got Cody in earlier than usual tonight. A lot of times he's sneaking in at the end, but sounds like they went camping and got home. He's able to hop on. So nice to see you here earlier, Cody. Hope the camping trip went well and you stayed cool and dry. I know it's probably monsoon season down there, so never know what you can get in Arizona. Trade Skiller Anonymous, JR saying, speaking of computers, a mini PC I bought 25 days ago for the shop just died, returning to Amazon. What's the specs you'd pay the most attention to for Lightburn, vCarve, etc., CPU cores? Well, I could show you the one I'm running out here. It's if you're looking for a mini computer, anyway, this one has been working okay for me. I've had it for, let's see here. I bought it almost a year ago. So it's a mini computer. You just
I was trying to get her. Oh, it's the comment so big. That's what it is. I was trying to get your head out from behind the comment. You look like the guy off of Tool Time.
So yeah, this is it. The things that I would look at is it's nice to have a semi decent video card, but you don't need like the top of the line 3D card. Now, it is, especially if you're doing V carves in Vectric and Expire, being able to bump up that resolution can help. But I look at RAM, especially if possible. So you got 32 gig here and a storage on the drive. Now I do have cloud storage. I copy things too, but this day and age with Windows 11, I would say 512 is kind of your minimum, because if you only have a 256 hard drive, by the time you get the operating system on there and a couple applications, it's chewing up a lot of that space. So I like to have a little overhead, because I do tend to copy down a lot of my cloud files, and especially when I'm doing with video files, I want a little bit more. But you could get by with 512, but I would definitely bump up to one terabyte. You can get by with 16, but again, I think I would go for 32 gigs of RAM. So the other thing I was looking at this one is they do have dual NICs, which is kind of nice. And then let's see, do they have a better? It has a decent number of USB ports. So you see up there, it's got 2 USB 4.0. It's got 2 regular USB. And then it has the ability to add a dock as well for a better video card and such. So it's not the cheapest mini PC out there, but it's a small form factor and has been working well for me out here. If I was going for a full-on desktop, I'd probably go for a better video card in this one. But if you want to take a look at it, I will grab the link for you, and you can take a closer look and get things to click right here. But yeah, those are kind of what I look at.
Yeah, I'm like Steve. As long as you got enough RAM, anything from an i5 forward, as long as it's compatible with Windows 11. That's the caveat. Is the older machines, a lot of them don't work with 11. But yeah, RAM and a knockoff or a mid-tier video card makes a lot bigger difference than the processor. Like you can have an i9 with a extra RAM and a video card will outperform. I mean, an i5 with an extra RAM and a video card can outperform an i9 without it. So, like you said, the video card is really nice to have when you're doing 3D modeling and stuff, and then the RAM definitely. That's this one that I'm running. It's not like a powerhouse, but it does for what I need it to do.
It's a question from Robert Greenleaf. Are there any videos using a laser engraver and a vinyl cutter together? I mean, there might be out there. Really, you would really, in that instance, you would probably put vinyl on a project. So what I've done in the past is, during early COVID, I built a mini bar top arcade unit with my kids, and I made a little light up bar on top that had some clear acrylic that I then put some frosting behind, but then I used a vinyl cutter adapter on one of my CNCs to cut out the logo to go in there. But vinyl, unless you get laser safe vinyl, is one of those things you don't really mix with your laser, because the chlorine will create the poisonous gas and corrosive gas. So you kind of want to avoid that. But yeah, I mean, it's, your vinyl cutter cutting out the actual decals you want, or you can cut out stencils or masks out of like a tape material as well. I've seen it done for both, but it's kind of more up to the creator to figure out how you're going to utilize each machine.
Doesn't that M1 that you had, doesn't it have the capability of doing vinyl?
Yeah, the M1 Ultra has a drag knife.
That's the only thing I've seen.
But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about multi-function machines, there are some out there. I mean, you can get a drag knife adapter for a CNC machine. There are some laser safe vinyls, but yeah, my Stepcraft had a little drop in. It dropped into the spindle mount, and it was a drag knife. The M1 Ultra Snapmaker used to have a multifunction machine, and maybe they still do. They're okay. I'm not a fan of them because it seems like they try to do everything okay, but never do one thing well. There's always it always seems you're giving up something. Even like putting a laser on a CNC machine. You can do it. A lot of people do, but I feel like you're losing. Generally your CNC machine is built for torque, laser's built for speed, and so you're giving up some capabilities one way or the other.
Yep. Tony's asking if you move your exhaust hose to the top of the window and inlet in the bottom, would you get more cooling? I think you checked it. It's not doing a loop or anything.
Well, I mean, so I get what he's saying here. So the hot air is coming out on bottom, the cool air is coming on top, and so the hot air is mixing with that. If I didn't have the screen in the way, I could probably make some adapters to try to direct those differently. I could swap them, and it might give me a minor increase, but honestly, this unit's doing pretty well. It isn't like right now.
It's working great up there.
It's at 68 degrees in here, and I'm I might have to turn it down. But yeah, they're put that close together because I'm using the stock bracket to hold them in place. So I can't, without completely making a new mount, which I could do. And next year, I'm probably going to do that differently. This was kind of let's get it in the window. Let's test to see if it's going to do enough here. And yeah, so yeah, it should in theory keep the compressor cooler and be more efficient, whether it puts out more cool air or just uses less power. Yes, swapping those around, getting those air streams separated a little bit more definitely would help with its efficiency, maybe give it a little extra cooling capacity and such. But so far I've been pleasantly surprised that it hasn't it's been keeping up. It takes a little bit to cool it down, but like I said, it will kind of ramp down the power when it gets to temp, and so it's idled along at like 400 or 500 watts when it's at temp versus the 1,000 to 1,500 when it's trying to cool. But yeah, next year, if I don't have a mini split by then, put this one back. I plan on making more of an insulated panel, maybe moving those, separating them just a little bit more, adding some insulation on the inside just to make it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, and you were talking about today too in your video. I was watching it, and I was thinking you technically could probably make you like a little shelf that's set in your windowsill to where your hose runs would be like short, like really, really short, if you wanted to.
Yeah,
and like you said, take some insulative material or something and kind of insulate it a little better.
So on the back,
I don't know that it's needed, but
on the back of the unit, they're side by side, and so maybe if I moved them down, I could keep them straight out, in and out, and yeah, minimizing that would be good. But I'm not going to overthink it too much.
It was really warm up there the other day, and when we walked in your shop, it was cool. But now part of that too is the fact that you insulated your shop really well. It probably would not work as well here in my shop because it's not as insulated. But yeah, it felt nice in there the other day. And like you said, the humidity, if you can just draw the humidity down in a shop, it makes it a lot easier to deal with, even if it's not cooler.
Yeah, it's down to 52% humidity in here right now. There's that top number. And so that's a lot better because like last year when I didn't have it in here, that was my problem, is my humidity was sitting in there like 65.
Tastes like a sauna.
And it's just, you walk in here, just like even when the temperature was down, it was sticky. So yeah, it's made a world of difference.
And that's the thing with mine. My mini split has a trouble. This time of the year, it can't keep up. Like in the really, really hot times and the really, really cold times, it just can't keep up because of the way the building's built and the lack of really being insulated. But like right now, it's 76 degrees in here, but the humidity's at 38. Because it's like you can go outside and watch the little drip hose outside. It's just steady dripping humidity out of here. So 76 at 38% humidity feels better to me than 70 at 90% humidity. Because because you can actually, your body's able to actually get rid of the moisture and cool yourself the way it's supposed to. So yeah, humidity is very important, especially in a shop environment when you got, wood and stuff in there too.
And the cool thing is, I think I maybe skipped this in that video, but it has its own app. I know I mentioned that, but it's also, you can integrate it into Google Home and Amazon Alexa for certain commands. So, you've got, like I said in the video, when I was coming home, I turned it on the way just to kind of cool it off. And so it's made, I don't dread coming out here in the summer.
Yeah.
It's made me more productive. So
yeah, and that's what everybody told me when I put my mini split in. They're like, your building's really not. I mean, it's not really that well insulated. So I did the best I could at insulating it. But if I didn't have the air conditioner, I couldn't come out here. Like it would be miserable. I wouldn't want to be in here. The way I do it right now is I get up in the morning, I do my outside chores, cutting the grass. If I got to do any adjustments to my robots, picking up pine cones, picking up sticks, because it's like every afternoon we get a thunderstorm. And so all these pine trees drop pine cones, they drop limbs and stuff. So every morning, just about it, I'm gonna have to pick up stuff out of the yard. And I try to do that before like 10 o'clock, because by 10 o'clock here, it's starting to, like, you just start sweating. Like, you walk outside and you just get sticky and you just start sweating. So I try to get all that stuff done by 10 and get in the shop where it's somewhat cool. So Mark's asking, yeah, go ahead. I was going to read it while you was looking, but
Mark's asking on those filters we were showing, the fume clear ones, is the HEPA portion of the filtration washable? No. So that's the third filter in it, and it's kind of one of these fabric or cloth or paper, I should say, paper filter stacks like this, and it's pretty good size. But what is washable? So you have just above that. Get it up now. This sits above that. So this is kind of your particulate filter. You could probably wash this, but they send I think you get this one plus 4, and then they have separate packs of it. So this is there, but before it even hits that.
Yeah, it's got several like larger particulate filters.
You have this kind of screen mesh filter. And so this is what you would wash out, and it would hopefully, I don't know what the micron is on that screen, but this is going to pick up a lot of the heavy particulate. This is going to then pick up your next level. And so before it hits that HEPA filter, hopefully you've really reduced the larger particulate that tends to plug up the other ones. So I was really excited when I saw this in there, that it's,
because that is completely washable. Like, it's aluminum with the mesh and everything. I mean, so
it's got a little EVA.
It's a really, really fine screen, is it not?
Yeah. So that's going to be the thing, seeing how well this holds up, seeing how washable it is, see how clean it keeps those others. And that's where over the next few weeks, both Dave and I want to put some hours on these and see how they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I typically vent, but it is nice, especially in the hottest times of the year and the coolest times of the year. It is nice if I can use something that's going to recycle my air that's been conditioned rather than pumping it outside.
Well, and that's just it. Like, I've got this air conditioner in here now. So on the hot days, if I can run this for a bit and keep this air in rather than dumping it out, that's great. Same thing in the winter. I can heat this place up, but
and you're not dragging humidity in too, because like you said, you were lowering your humidity with your machine, and if you blow air out the back of the shop, it's going to be pulling it in the front, and with new air comes more humidity.
Now, as we've said before, doing air filtration like this isn't cheap. And these units are not, this isn't a few $100 unit. I think right now it was on sale for something like $800. But I've said this in the past, if you are going to rely on one of these, you are going to spend some money. Now, the hope is that these filter stacks are in the sense that you spend the money up front, and maybe you're not, because like some of those others, like you were saying, 6 to 8 hours you were replacing filters. That gets expensive fast. Hopefully these have a little bit better medium.
Yeah, the little ones that we typically see remind me a lot of those little above ground pools that come with the filter. that's like the size of this thing here, and you have to change it out like daily, and they're like $10 a piece. That's what those remind me of. It's like you didn't make a product to help me out. You made a product to keep me buying these little cartridges.
That's the old inkjet printer thing, right?
Yeah, because I had one of those little above ground pools one time, and like the pool cost nothing, but the cartridges and stuff that went in there, oh my gosh, man! And you couldn't skip out on it or your water turned green. So yeah, but yeah, it's not cheap, it's not light, and that one's not small. But if it works the way and the thing about it is the thing with the company, I was shocked. They just simply sent an email and said, "Are you interested in trying it out?" I said yes, and they're like, "Okay, here's your chipping number. Use it. Let us know what you think. Do a video about it." That was literally all the input they gave. Like it wasn't. You can tell they're confident in the product. Yeah. And I don't know what was the one that they were using at CES that a cell laser was using. Was it a fume clear? Yep. I was thinking to myself it was a fume clear. I had it in my videos that I looked at. Oh, and I know they ran that a lot.
I had talked with Mike Mullins, Laser Engraving 911, and that's one of the ones he has confidence in. And he does a lot of work, so he tests them out. I think even Rich, LA Hobby guy, had mentioned that he had good luck with them as well. So I mean, it comes with some multiple backing of that. So excited to give it a shot, see how it does, and yeah. EMT, okay.
Oh, my bad. I didn't see it.
EMT Dave asks, can I replace an original AMS with the AMS2 on an X1C? Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, I think now the A1 is also compatible with the normal AMSs, not just the light like it used to be. So, yeah, you definitely can do that upgrade. If you want to do the heating at the same time, though, I believe you have to get a separate power supply.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of them with the AMS2s. Because the output, the little 4-pin output, just can't. Yeah, it can't run both.
You'll cook it. So yeah, it doesn't come. That's an add-on that most people don't think about adding as the separate power supply for it.
Yeah, but if you're disciplined and you schedule it and do your maintenance and just check it periodically, I don't see where that would ever really be an issue. I mean, it hasn't been for me. Because I had thought about ordering a power supply, and I'm like, I usually do that when I'm like at the end of the day or on a day that I'm not running the printers anyway. So, and you don't have to do it that often if you, like I said, especially if you pull them down and use desiccate.
Kevin says apparently the Target in Mankato has A1 minis and filaments from Bamboo Labs. I saw that they are starting to stock bamboo filaments. I haven't been to our local store, I'll be honest, other than going to the 3D printing store, which I will walk through Target for. Or maybe stopping by our friends at the Midwest Midwest Makers Mercantile. I don't spend a whole lot of time in the mall. And I know I was talking with Jason, the owner of the 3D printing shop. He's trying to get connected with Bamboo to be able to do some more support with them. He does do repair for printers and such, and so he'd like to have a connection with them. So I did give him some context. So hopefully, like, hey, maybe this is more than a contact at bamboolabs.com that could help you. But yeah, it's nice that there's more availability coming. Michael's is now stocking filament. Of course, Hobby Lobby's been out there with filament. And so great that there are more local places for people to be able to pick it up, because that just makes it more accessible to work with. So hopefully that helps prices and availability. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll have to check it out. Dare go to the mall again. I think this is one you were jumping on.
Yeah, Finding Me Woodwork says I'm 100% afraid to go down the 3D printing rabbit hole. The 3D printers, I will say this, a 3D printer is the most, it can solve the most problems as far as like problems in your shop of any tool you'll have. Like that's, even if you don't, I mean, I'm not really into making the bobblehead things. Steve likes making them, and they're cool, and he makes some nice, cool looking ones. But I do functional parts and functional things. But man, I have solved so many problems with a little bit of plastic in a 3D printer. Like it is unreal. Like I can now, if you can't design and you're limited to just, secondhand files, maybe there's going to be some limitations to what you can do if you can't design your own file, but there's almost a file for everything. Is it still printing?
It was supposed to be a 14-hour print. So yeah, it's purging and making a color change right now. But I'm making now this should be a mini me.
Is that the mini Steve?
Yes.
But
so hopefully when I wake up tomorrow morning,
yeah,
I'll have a bunch of support things to break off. But yeah,
but even downloadable files that are free, you can get a lot. And then if you want to pay a couple of bucks for a file, you can get a lot more. But
I'm curious if the fear is the diving down the rabbit hole and disappearing for ages and coming out with this plastic plethora of things you've printed,
like having a face on a volleyball.
or if it's just, some people are afraid of new technology and not clear where to start. So yeah, I would hope it's the former, that is just like, you're going to dive into this and it's going to consume you and you're going to spend a bunch of money printing everything under the sun, which can happen. But hopefully people aren't afraid of jumping in with it. Like I said, I've been trying to put out video and tips of things where you can make use of a 3D printer both for fun and practical things without having to dive headfirst and learn 3D design 100%. There's a lot of cool tools out there to do some customization, and there's a lot of files out there that are just pre-made free. So
yeah. Well, I've got a video that I'm going to try to do pretty soon on my X2D that I recently got, which is basically a P2S with some added functionality. It's the I guess the replacement for the X1 Carbon is the X2D, and it has its advantages if you want a smaller 3D printer and you're not doing a whole bunch of color change stuff. But I'm really enjoying it so far, so I need to get that video out. But yeah, they like, I run the 3D printers almost every day, and I don't know how I made it without them. I'm gonna be honest with you, because like before, if I needed something to mount something with, I'd have to like go buy it at the store, and now I can take like 10 minutes, design it, and print it. Now the print typically takes longer than 10 minutes, but yeah. But it's fun. You should try it. Just like I said, now you can go crazy spending money on it if you ain't careful. But if as long as you can like resist the urge to upgrade, you'll be all right. So, because there are upgrade opportunities everywhere. Jack says, Clack, do you think you might look at Milmage now that it has V-Carb and 3D? Maybe when things slow down in the spring. I don't know. Typically, the way things work around here is about June, things start spinning up. It takes a little while for me to get really, really busy. But by the time Christmas gets here, like, I'll be ready for a break. So it'll be typically, my slow months are going to be from January till May, are kind of where I slow down a little bit. It just depends. But my problem right now is, and I've watched some of the stuff with Milmage. I got an email from Lightburn the other day about them. I guess they're trying to do more promotional stuff because they've never reached out to me before, unsolicited. They've talked to me at events, but this was like an email directed at me, so forth, for Milmage and Lightburn. And I think they've started an affiliate program and all these things. I looked at it, but to be honest, I don't have the time to try to learn it right now. I may play around with it a little bit just to see, but I've got to get some time to be able to play around, because right now, like, my daughter starts band camp this week, and so I got to go drop her off every day at band camp, and it's in the middle of the day. And so my day between my domestic duties and my business duties, I don't know how I ever got anything done when I had a job. I'm going to be honest with you, which I didn't do a lot of the domestic stuff back then. So maybe that's why. What about you, Steve? I mean, you've got the new Onefinity over there now. Are you Are you thinking about it?
Well, I do want to take a look at it. It's been quite a while since I've dabbled with it, but knowing that there's a lot of people that do want to make this transition from um, running a laser to adding a CNC machine, and they probably are used to light burn, it'd be nice to be able to at least speak to that a little bit closer now that they are developing more tools for it. It's going to be hard for me to step away from VCarve because I've been using it. Well, let's see. My first, I think I looked, and my first video showing a CNC machine on this channel, believe it or not, I think was November 15 years ago. And that was when I was doing some work on some model airplanes. And at that time, I was actually using a plugin for SketchUp that created the G code that I was able to run on my friend's machine. But I believe it was shortly after that, within a year or so. So I've been probably using various forms of VCarve for about 12 years. Those are old habits that are hard to break. It's kind of why I still will fall back to SketchUp to do some of my design, because again, old habits are hard to break.
Well, you got me beat on that one.
I do want to play around a bit with that. So
I just looked back to see, and this is the date of the video, but I put my first CNC video out with the Genmitsu 4040 Pro. I put it out in 2023, July the 1st of 2023. So that is, 3 years, almost exactly 3 years ago. So, so you've got a lot more time under your belt when it comes to that, for sure. A lot more time.
Yeah, it's a video called CNC Cutting Depron, posted 14 years ago. I think the actual date on it was like November something. So
yeah, I wasn't doing any kind of content with lasers, CNCs, or anything then. That was 15 years ago. I would have been doing some drone stuff, but that would have been it. That was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Dark Forest Maid's asking, have you tried Beam Bench as light burn alternative? How about CNC 3D Commander Design Suite for CNCs? I'm playing with both. They're pretty great for free software. I'll admit I haven't. I think I've read a little bit about CNC 3D, but it's just a time thing between day job, some customer work here, trying to create content, doing family stuff. The play time on some of these, it's kind of the reason that I haven't spent a whole lot of time with even like Millmage and such. Just haven't had the time to commit to it, because usually I have other things that are on the list that I need to get done. But it is nice to have alternatives. I mean, kind of like in the graphics production world, you've got, of course, Adobe, but then you have, Inkscape and others that are kind of the open source equivalents, that if you're willing to spend a little bit of time on something that maybe not as well documented, but close, you can generally get the same capabilities. So nice to know that they're out there. But if I have more time, maybe if I was retired and sitting around in my shop.
No, don't do it, dude. I'm telling you won't have any time if you retire. I'm telling you, stay at work. At least you do get a little bit of relaxation time. Wayne Young says, what software do you use for 3D design? I pretty much stick with Fusion 360. Now, I will tell you this. I have started using a lot of the tools that are in Bamboo Slicer. Case in point, the other day, my little Echo Dot, or whatever you want to call it, the little sphere that is Echo that I keep in my shop. I was doing some rearranging over here, and I over tightened the screw, and the one that I had printed out of PLA split on me, and I needed to print another one. Well, the design, I like the design, but it went around the sphere too much to where it covered up the indicator lights on the front of it. And so what I ended up doing was I went to Maker World, downloaded the file, and just brought it into the slicer. And I used the tools in the slicer to basically, where this thing was kind of shaped like a bowl, I took and just cut the front section off of it so that I could see the lights and stuff on there, and printed it. And so I didn't even have to use a 3D design software. I was able to just throw a plane into the model and then hit slice, and it chopped it off. I deleted that little piece and printed it. So Fusion, if I'm doing it design from scratch, but you can put text on things, you can resize things, scale things. Like Steve was showing the tool now that they've got for doing adapters for hoses that you really don't even have to have any designing skills. You just measure, 3 measurements you had to take and then put it in the software and it does the work for you. So, I mean, what is it, Tinkercad? Steve can tell you about Tinkercad because he uses it a lot, and it's kind of like the little brother to Fusion. So,
yeah, I mean, Tinkercad it's meant as kind of a intro to 3D design. That being said, there are some people who do a lot with it, but it's meant to be kind of like the free kind of get your feet wet, just play around with some guardrails and such. I've been using SketchUp for years, and I wouldn't call it a true 3D modeling because it more does faces, but you can do 3D design in there. But I would not recommend that to anyone starting out now. I would look at some of the other tools that are, I mean, even if you're just doing it with 3D printing, you can do a lot just in the slicers themselves with objects and extruding stuff. But yeah, if you're serious about learning it for, machining and manufacturing, laser cutting, CNC routing, 3D printing, I would probably take a dive at Fusion.
Mark says, Clack, it wasn't that long ago that you only had one 3D printer. I believe you said you were good in content with that one. What in the world happened? Well, what happened was I couldn't keep up with the one printer that I had. And I brought it out here in the shop and was trying my best to keep up with orders and couldn't, because I have to make these things like all week. I'm making these and printing them. And I got this part plus this part. You're looking at 2.5 hours for this one, another 2 hours for these. And so I couldn't keep up. And so I bought the X2D because it was enclosed and I could bring it out here in the shop and not have to worry about as much about the dust. But I have to print, I print at least 5 of these a week. And so these Bigfoots are my biggest reason, is because I just couldn't keep up with the orders. I was running out my Etsy shop. I was constantly having to stay up late, waiting on them to finish and trying to stay stocked on Etsy, and just couldn't. And then I had a few times to where my A1, I would have it printing overnight because I was, like I said, I was behind. So I'd have the A1 printing overnight. The A1 is an awesome little printer. For the money, you can't beat it. But what the A1 does not have is good spaghetti detection. If something goes south and you're not around to see it, walking by, looking at it every now and then, it will turn into the blob of doom. And you'll come out here the next day and your hot end will be self-destructed, and there'll be filament everywhere. And I had that happen a couple of times, mostly because of the I guess the dust and the moisture getting into the filament and stuff like that. And so the P2S and the X2D, the spaghetti protection on them, like spaghetti detection, to where if the printer starts doing something that doesn't look like it's supposed to be on the model, it will actually pause it and send you a message and say, hey, check the printer, make sure this is cool, and then hit the resume button if it is. The A1 had that ability, but because the camera was kind of at a bad angle, the lighting wasn't great, it wasn't 100% dependable. And so I upgraded to the P2S. And literally within a month or two, I mean, just doing my 3D print jobs and selling stuff, it paid for itself. So then after I got the P2S, that's when Bamboo said they were going to send me the X2D. I bought my P2S a week before the X2D come out, but I wound up getting the X2D from Bamboo anyway. So it worked out. But yeah, that's the reason. It's because I started selling 3D printed stuff. I had only been selling files until I retired. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start selling the actual item now that I have a little more time and help make a little more money to, buy my gas money and my crackers for lunch, you know. So I started doing that, and so the Bigfoots are a thing. So that's why. But I'm good right now unless somebody sends me one. I'm not planning on buying another printer anytime soon.
And he had to sell one just so he could keep his count lower than mine.
You do have more 3D printers than I have. I only have 2.
I mean, I gave one to the wife, so I only have 3.
Oh, I hear you.
For now.
I was going to say, I hear you. You remember, I know things.
Well, speaking of the multicolor print I'm doing right now, I mean, it's so slow because of all the color changes and the purges, but I wanted to give it a shot. But I really would like to try out either the Snapmaker U1 or, the FlashForge Creator 5 or others that, may come out with a 4-color head. And that's the kind of thing that I'm keeping my eye out. Like you said, as things kind of calm down, we get into winter, it's either going to have to be like mid-fall, right before the rush of Christmas stuff, or maybe buy it around that time on a deal and then, post January 1, do some playing on there. Because as you mentioned, I do like playing around with some of the more fun, fun decorative kind of things. Lets me pull a little bit of this world into my office at work and have a little less bland office here at home as well. So there will probably be additions and other things that need to move on, but you start using them, and like you were saying, you can't always keep up. Even doing the chunkables, I like printing half the parts on my P1S and half of them on the A1, just so, if I'm working at home for a day, I can usually be managing those 2 plates together, and over the course of an 8-hour day, I have, the 6 to 8 plates printed out, and I have the parts to assemble at the end of the day. If I just had one, it'd be a 2-day event unless I was like right on those plates. So
yeah, and that's the thing I like about these 2 guys. Like I don't need to, because what was it, Wednesday or Thursday, I ran those printers like all day. I come out here first thing in the morning, opened the shop up, and started both of them. Because what I do is I've got the thumb drive saved, the thumb drives that are in those machines. The P2S has the print file for the 2 small pieces, and then the X2D does the main body of the Bigfoot. And I'll start both of those machines, come back in 2.5 hours, clear the build plates, start them again, clear the build plates, start them again. I can print, now that I've got both these machines running, I can print 6 or 8 of them in a day. Whereas before, it was a lot slower because I had the 2 parts. I was on one machine, and if I ever did have a failed print, it didn't just stop and notify me. Like I would come in here and have to like take the hot end apart and put it in maintenance mode, and taking Q-tips and little picks and pulling filament out from cracks and crevices. And so this is definitely much better. And the thing with the X2D, let me go grab a piece right quick. And I'm going to do a video on it, but I haven't yet. I haven't got my video done. Maybe I'm going to try to do that this week. With the X2D, the reason I use it on the big part is the X2D is a little bit faster, first of all. But the second part is I'm using a support material in my auxiliary nozzle. And so you can see that this is the PLA PETG support material from Bamboo Labs. And basically it's just that interface layer. So I've got the secondary nozzle that puts that down. And it keeps the supports from sticking to the part, which is nice because literally I can just pop this thing out, the whole thing at one time. And it leaves a lot smoother surface on the part than it does if you're using, just regular PETG supports. So that was one of the big reasons why I wanted the X2D, was to be able to do that. Now, the one thing, if you do have an X2D and you do this, I'm going to go ahead and forewarn you, and I'll save you some headache. If you're using PLA on a PETG model for support material only in your printer, and you start seeing chafing, like a really rough surface on the top of your print, the cause of that is because the PLA, the melting point or the soft point is normally set to 45 degrees. And so what that does is it causes the cooling fans to cut on like high, and it's cooling too quick for the PETG, and it can cause your actual model to fail. And so if it'll pull up elephant foot, get rough surface and all that. But if you'll take and modify your PLA settings for your machine, or at least for that file, and change it to 60 degrees for the soft point of the filament for your support, no more problem. I bet I spent a whole roll of filament trying to figure that one out. And that's going to be in my video. That's the only complaint I've got so far, is they need to address that in the software so that it doesn't overcool your part, or at least because it will throw up a little warning and tell you you're using mixed temp filaments. But this is literally the filament that Bamboo sells for support for PETG. So, they should probably fix it to where it does that on its own. But since I did that, changed it from 45 degrees to 60 so the cooling fans don't cut on, I had no problems. Fixed it. But yeah, I love it. I'm glad I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting me a multi-filament printer one of these days and trying one of those little Steve statues.
Well, a lot of the ones I've been doing don't require an AMS or anything like that. They have single print plates, but
that's right. You're doing the snap together ones, ain't you?
Yeah, but there are, like the one that I created today within the Maker Lab stuff that requires multicolor printing. So, David Pingle's asking regarding Milmage and Lightburn. I find that most of the color selections for levels are extremely difficult to see on my screen. Am I the only one with that problem? I guess it kind of depends on your screen settings and also your eyes. Some people like what's called dark mode, and I believe Lightburn added that. I think they added dark mode at some point here, so that might be something you might want to turn on. And so that would change the background from a lighter background to a darker background, and that might help your color. Might help, might hurt it. I don't know. I think that's under the just under the general tool settings. Yeah, under edit and settings, display. There's a use dark background option. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I'm like you. It could be a monitor thing too, though.
Let's see here. Share screen. I'm gonna have to share the entire screen because the way Lightburn works. All right, so in Lightburn, come up here to edit, go down to settings, come over to display, and you've got use dark background. And that will turn this dark, but it doesn't look like it turns the whole UI dark, so that might not help.
They've got a dark mode because I turned it on one time and didn't like it. Oh, I'll have to find it. It may be under general because I do know they've got it. Because
yeah, I thought so too, but I'm not a big fan of dark mode myself on anything. I know some people do, but anyway, but yeah, I suppose that's there's the things. So across the bottom here, this is what I assume you're talking about is the colors there, but you can change the background dark, and then when you do that, then you may or may not. Let's see here. So see that? I don't know. I don't know that helps seeing them here. Certain colors are going to show up better, but the darker ones are obviously not going to be as great with the dark background. But you can play around with that to see if it helps, depending on
Yeah, there it
on
is.
your monitor.
No, that
You
is.
find it?
Well, no, that's the same one that you just found. I thought I found it. I swear it was here. I'm like you. It was here somewhere. I just don't know where they've hid it at. It says use dark background, not dark
Yeah.
mode.
Otherwise,
here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Where?
If you go back to where you were under display, and
Yeah.
there's a drop down selection all the way down to the very last
system
line.
theme.
Yeah.
Is that like a reboot to take effect kind of thing?
I think it's just a Lightburn reboot. It's not a system reboot. Yeah,
Well,
it's just
reload the.
And then you still would have to change the work area to dark if you wanted to do it the way that you showed a while ago. So,
all right, let me.
Yeah.
So that brings it up like that. Let me here. All right, hold on.
It's very high contrast.
There you go. Hide this. So this is what that looks like. So that was here. Go to edit settings, display, and this little drop down application theme: classic dark, classic light. This is classic dark with the dark background turned on here. And so let's see here. Oh, I gotta actually draw something, not selection. There's red, magenta, green, your blacks. So I don't know if that will help you, but that might be something to try. Is changing the theme and the background might make them pop a little bit more. And
and you can do that with a white background too. If you just needed the high contrast buttons and you want the background to stay the same, you can.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if it's this bar down here or because I get what they're saying is sometimes
you lose
these
the
lines will, not show up as well.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would add a feature to where, like, I kind of wish they would add a feature to where you could set the thickness of the line per se, so that if you wanted it to be a little thicker, but I could see where that would not really be accurate because, maybe it's going to kind of look like a field instead of a line. But it would be better if they could maybe they could put an option in there with a waiver to where you can make the lines twice as thick or something like that.
Yeah, I mean you can change the icon size and you can change the font size, things like that. But anyway, hopefully that's something to play with. See if it helps you out a little bit. I'm gonna remember to reset this because.
Yeah, I just set mine to system theme. That way you can actually set your whole computer to dark mode. If you put it to system theme, it's going to follow the theme of your computer. So if you want you got to change it on the whole machine to go to dark mode. So I knew I had run across that, but I couldn't remember where it was either. I just went hunting.
Other things reset here. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to get it back down here to the.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on comments too. Jack says he's got 5 3D printers right now. He's got a little mini farm.
Yeah, Jack's been leaning heavy into the 3D printing stuff here lately.
Directed Text got ordered the U1. This is one of those where you never know when the Kickstarters come out, and that people who jumped on that early, they got lucky. They got a good price on that. And they've been having some fun with it. So
yeah. I don't know what that name is. Maui something. It says, client, do you do paid design work for 3D files? Not like I've never done, and I don't know that I would. I've never done any somebody sends me a drawing and I design it for them necessarily. The stuff that I do is for me typically, and a lot of it is just to solve a problem. And a lot of times it's stuff that's out there on Tinkercad somewhere. Like these little things. Like these are literally just little pieces that I made. I've got some countersunk screw holes on one side and they put a magnet in there, and it's just like a little mount thing to help hold stuff still. Well, I needed it for this specific magnet because this is the magnet that I had. And so that's what I did. I went in there and drew it up. And now that I've got this file designed, I can go in and just adjust the size of the magnet and hit print and print all of them I want to. So some of the stuff that I do make things and sell the designs, but typically it's not something that I'm doing off of a drawing that somebody sent me or something like that. It's just little problems that I need to have in the shop that I need to solve. Because it's 3D design can be a process. It's very rare that prototype 1 actually works. I've gotten better at it to where it's getting to where more often I do it one time and it works, but there's still every now and then it's like, oh, that was supposed to be the inside instead of the outside, and my diameters are backwards, and it ain't nothing worse than waiting on something to print for 2 hours. And then so I've started, especially like with adapters and stuff, I'll drop it into Bamboo. I'll take the cut tool and I'll cut the very top that slides onto the hose and the very bottom that slides on the machine. I'll slice it about a 10 millimeter thick piece, and I'll print those pieces of it, and then I'll fit check it. And then if that works, then I print the whole thing to keep from wasting filament and time. Because now that I've gotten real confident with that little chopping tool inside Bamboo Studio, it's just so much easier to, just print the tail ends of it and size check it first.
I just measure right the first time.
I typically measure right the first time, but I mean, especially with 3D printing, there's a little bit of shrinkage that's going to be, that's going to happen. So sometimes if you go for a tight fit, sometimes you get a too tight fit. So I typically measure correctly, but I have to make adjustments sometimes.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
Measure once, print 3 times. You know how it goes.
Okay, so apparently it's Maui with the 2 initials. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was like one big word. So, cool. Hope I didn't mess it up too bad.
Put your old southern spin on it. So,
yeah. Maui!
Jake says, thank you, Steve, for your video on the exhaust tube adapter. Much easier than I've been doing. Yeah. Like I say, not everybody wants to become masters at 3D design. So when there are tools out there that still allow you to create custom parts, make it easier, love to share that out there. And just, it encourages people to use their tools. Like Clark said, you can find a bunch of stuff out there. I often will do a search first before I design something. And if it's what I need, great, awesome. I don't need to spend the time designing it, unless, like you say, you want to have it for a specific piece, or maybe you want to have it to be able to customize down the road. But there's so much out there that you can do with these things, and a lot of functional things. I mean, I found a lot of functional things for the Onefinity that, I should design this. Well, hold on, let's search for it. Oh, there's one that works. So
yeah,
happy to share that stuff. I hope to do more of that, whether it's through some of those parametric modeling tools and the other Maker Lab tools, or other non-Bamboo tools, just encourage people to get use out of their machines, be comfortable with them.
Yep. Well, I will soon have one more reason to need a 3D printer. And my wheels are already turning. And this is the danger, guys. If you get a 3D printer, the danger of it is you're always looking for what else can I fix? What else can I create? What else can I make? It just, like, it never ends. So I'm blaming Steve for this one. I have a new thing coming that I purchased. This is not somebody sent it to me or anything. This is a thing that I purchased, and I am sure there are going to be things that I'm going to need to print for it. And here it is. There you go. So Steve talked me into getting it. It's all his fault, but I purchased this today with my own funds. Yeah, see, there's the one that caused the problem right there. So I purchased that today, and it's going to be coming. And I've already trying to figure out how I can make a mount for my 360 camera because I want to do some video footage with my 360 camera. So I'm going to need like a mount to go either on the handlebars or on the back so that I can like use my 360. So those are already, I'm already coming up with 3D models in my head. What are you doing over there?
This is the cool part. It's got taillight with brakes and turn signal.
Is that's standard, right? Because
yeah.
Okay, I didn't special order that or nothing. It doesn't have blinkers though, right? You still got to do the old arms for the blinkers.
No, it's got turn signals
on
the back.
Okay, well, I was curious because I never saw where it said it had turn signals.
Yeah, it's down on the bottom of the rack.
And you got the mirrors because I ordered me a set of mirrors because
I bought some aftermarket ones on Amazon. Same with like the bag and such. But yeah, it's I've been enjoying this, and I need to put some more out on it on my my second channel just to kind of share with it, because I know there's not everybody loves e-bikes, because there are some people who are very rude on them, but I used to ride bike a lot, but I also had a little bit of a knee injury in college playing softball and such. I hyperextended and dislocated my knee a little bit. And so one knee has just always been a little bit weaker than the other. And as I got older and less active, I've noticed it's harder to enjoy that. But this has made it a lot easier to get out and ride longer and keep that heart rate up longer and enjoy it. So I've been liking that. And this one folds up so I can put it in the back of the van, take it with. Yeah, it's a cool thing. But yeah, I paid for it to hopefully make myself get out there more, and I've gone on some pretty good long rides with it so far.
Well, when we got up to Minnesota and we drove up there and all that and got up there, and every time I go to a new place, like especially the bigger cities, they're a lot more like pedestrian, bicycle friendly. And so I told Brandy and the kids, I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had a bicycle or one of those little, I'd even probably go for one of those little nerd looking scooters. You know what I'm talking about? Little stand-up scooters. Because it just would make getting around a lot easier. And so, yeah, I ordered a helmet, but I got the black one I went ahead and just bulk ordered everything. But you know, I used to, back when I was exercising for work, we started doing bicycle patrols. We did the Segway thing for a while. And I used to ride, me and my buddy, which was my chief when I retired, me and him used to go, we get on bicycles and we would do 14, 15 miles on regular, just like not the expensive ones, regular, like mid-grade Smith & Wesson, because Smith & Wesson sold police bikes. And so we had ordered a couple of those Smith & Wesson police bikes, and we would go ride those things for 15, 20 miles. So I like riding. I also had motorcycles for a while, so I like that part, but I just haven't done it. And here it's not as bike friendly, so I'm gonna have to get creative. But I think I'll be able to use it to get exercise, like you said, and it's also gonna be cool when I go places. Matter of fact, there we go, right there. That was this was before we got the Smith & Wesson bikes. This is like a Walmart bike that we spray painted. So that was back in 2012. So yeah, but it was, you know, I think it's going to be fun. I was going to get a white one, but I couldn't get, they don't sell the white except for the step through. If you get it white, you got to get a step through. The only colors they offered in the XP4 was the green one like you've got, and I couldn't be called a copycat. So I got the gray one instead, which to me looks black. Because I was like, I can't get the same bike Steve got. It's got to at least look different. So someone was saying, oh, Diamond State Preserver was saying, mount the 360 camera to your helmet. I've played around with, I got to see if I have any of the footage here. I have played around with I have a handlebar mount, so it sticks out in front. Yeah.
Just trying to see here if I have.
Jer's asking what that bike is called.
So this is the electric e-bike. It's the XP4 750.
Yeah. And mine's the same. Like I said, Steve's is a different color. I'm assuming he has his all that long, so I'm assuming that his came with the same little add-ons that mine did. Because when you buy it, like it's kind of weird because they tell you the price of the bike, but then when you click on it, there's a bunch of like things that they throw in extra, like fenders and different things. So yeah, it's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. And these actually fold up as well. Oh yeah, that's definitely not your angle though.
No, it's it's in front of the bike, you know. So
okay. Yeah.
The nice thing is there you can just kind of spin it around and
yeah.
But I don't have this on this desktop computer, so it's hard to show that. But there is a cool there's a ride I want to do and kind of show some highlights from it. So maybe I'll get around to that here one of these days.
But yeah, you're talking about your knee being weaker than the other ones. Try having to have your quadriceps tendon put back together. Like that'll definitely weaken your leg. And that's one thing too, is I'm starting to, because I make it a habit. And that's why I was talking to somebody the other day. And they were like, oh, you should be careful now that you're retired. Make sure you get plenty of exercise. I mean, I admit I'm not like training for SWAT like I used to. Like we're not doing that. I'm not running my dog, 10 miles through the woods. But I mean, I'm averaging like 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day right here without even leaving home. And most of that is, carrying things. As I try to make sure, like instead of going and getting my buggy, I'll just make 2 or 3 trips carrying stuff just to get that extra movement. So
sure.
So yeah, I'm hoping that I can use it to go do some exercising and carry it places. And like when I go to town on the weekend, like during the week, if I go to town for meetings and to go get my hair cut and do some running around, I plan on taking it with me and, using it to zip around town a little bit. There is a couple of places nearby that me and Brandy talked about that I think I could go ride safely without getting run over. But the road that I live on, certain times of the day, it would probably be okay. But early morning and late in the afternoon, no, because the sun will blind you and somebody will took me out. So I'm gonna be careful with that.
Yeah. So I live 4 or 5 houses down from the trail. And
yeah, you got like sidewalks that you could drive a car
on. From there, I can go on a legit bike path. I could go from here all the way over 45 miles east of here to Faribault on it. As a matter of fact, there's a state park that's about 35-ish miles, I think, from my house along that trail. They have bike-in campsites, and I have a mod that I want to do to the bike that'll not quite double the battery capacity on here, but I think that would be enough to get me out there. I'm going to have to do a lot of the pedaling myself too. I'm not just going to be jamming that throttle and cruising out there, but that'd be kind of fun, is to pack up a light pack of just enough tent gear and some food.
Put your Jackery on the back and charge it when you get there.
Well, you got to remember it's got a payload. It's got a max payload, and I'm not exactly the smallest chicken in the group, so
I can't remember.
I think that'd be kind of fun. Is try to do a little bit of a biking camping trip. So
yeah, because I was thinking today, I was like, I technically could take my power supply with me and just strap it to the back, and when I get where I'm going, just plug it into the back of it and let it charge it.
Sure.
Now it would take 8 hours.
So Jake is asking, getting back to our core topics, pretty new to 3D printing. I'm having some issues with the print sticking to the bed. What am I doing wrong? First thing I would do is make sure your bed is clean. If you've done a number of prints, there can be residue. If you're switching filaments, definitely like PLA and PETG have different compounds that do not like to stick to each other. Just take it to the sink, get a little dish soap on there, scrub her down, rinse it in real hot water, dry it off, and that's hopefully going to be your number one problem. Now, there can be problems where that initial layer might be too close or too far away, and then you're either squishing down that first layer too much and spreading it out too much, or it's being laid down too high and it's not getting the right amount of adhesion to the bed. So if you have a clean bed and you've double checked kind of that it's level, you may have to play around with your first layer height, your Z height adjustment on there. Kind of depends on what printer you've got. Some of the newer ones have more, they'll go through and they'll probe it each time. They can do a bed leveling. But I've even had problems with some of those, like my Anycubic S1. I had to kind of adjust that first layer Z offset to get a good consistent layer down and not have some problems. But I would guess number one problem is probably just that the bed needs a good cleaning. Don't clean it with alcohol per se. Clean it with some dish soap so you can really get rid of any of those oils and other residue. Dry it off really well, and then give it a shot.
You may think I'm crazy, but the other day I was cleaning my build plates. I usually take them in the house and use them like in the sink with dishwashing liquid. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something new. And I use this with a microfiber cloth. It works so far.
It's a degreaser, so it should.
Yeah, so far I haven't had it because I was thinking to myself, is it going to leave a residue? Because a lot of cleaners will leave like a little wax film or something. So I was a little afraid that I might not have, good bed adhesion because of that. But I used this LA Awesome, and I used a microfiber cloth to keep from having to go in the house where the sink is, and it worked. I don't know if it'll always work, but I mean, so far. But I'm like you. I had been using rubbing alcohol to clean mine with, and I got away from that. Rubbing alcohol doesn't get whatever it is in PETG and PLA. It doesn't get it off. Like it's not cutting the grease. I had a guy. Matter of fact, the guy that bought my A1 was having issues with bed adhesion. I told him, I said, "What are you cleaning it with?" He's like, "I clean it with rubbing alcohol." I'm like, "Go get you some. Take it in the sink and wash it with the same stuff you wash your plates with."
Yeah.
Or I told him, I said, if you got LA Awesome, you can try that because I've used it and it seems to work. But I do know for a fact that some Dawn, like you said, just straight up Dawn dishwashing detergent works.
I use the Dawn Power Wash, so it comes in a little atomizing spray bottle. Gets into all the little textures of the plate, and then just
give
it a little scrub down and rinse off, and then that usually solves most of my problems.
Yeah. But yep.
Missed this one earlier, but Yuri's in the chat saying great Falcon T1 review. Looking forward to you testing the other modules. Any word on those showing up yet?
According to my contact, they're coming, but they're I guess still in I think she's told me end of the month, I think, maybe for the UV.
Well,
I don't know if they're going to send me any of the others. I just asked because I mean, to be honest with you, the 20-watt fiber, me and you both, I mean, the 20-watt fiber is not my most used module. The blues and the UVs are my most used. I do use fiber occasionally, but the blues and the UVs get more work here in the shop. But no, I'm liking it. The only complaints that I had was the controller over here wasn't really to my liking. So I 3D designed me a file so that I got it to where it magnetically attaches there. And then, of course, the limo tint's a little more than the limo tint's a little darker than I'm used to. But I've been running videos with it, so I've had the door open and wearing glasses. So it really hasn't been a problem for me, but I could see where, people would be like, hey, I can't see if there's a fire in there. I'm assuming if there was a fire, the flame sensor would go off, but you can't really see in there that great. But other than that, I like the machine. That's what I sent my contact. I'm like, hey, look, y'all got me. It's got a home. It's going to stay right here. I'm kind of curious about the other modules. Mm-hmm. And he or she, I don't remember. I think it's a she, Audrey. It's a she, said that I should have the UV toward the end of the month. But I appreciate it, Yuri. Yeah, it's a good machine. Yuri was in, I don't remember if he was in my little clip that I shared in the video, because I did use some of the footage that we collected at CES when we first saw this machine. And I think Yuri, if he wasn't in the video, he was close, because I know he was standing there when we videoed that.
Well, he was right next to it with all the scanners. So
yeah, he's the 3D scanning master. which I'm terrible at. I've gave up on that. I can't do it.
Rob Wilson's asking, what print beds do you use? The texture plate that came with the P2S is a little rough.
Which ones do you use?
I'm using the stock PEI plate on mine. I did purchase the, what is it? From Bamboo has like on one side, it's kind of like a more of a smooth texture. On the other side, it's almost even more rough.
Yeah, it's the PEI smooth texture.
Yeah.
I think it's the engineering plate, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. You've got that one, but that one you have to use the glue stick. I think you're supposed to use a glue stick with that one because that one's like the PEI is real stiff. I've started using these on my P2S, and I love them. Now, waiver. If it's something that's really big,
And these are.
This is the cool plate super tax.
There you go.
So if you're printing something that's really tall, and like you know how sometimes when you get like really tall things, they tend to want to tip over, and you don't want to run a bunch of supports. These will grip like nobody's business. The only thing that I will warn you about with these super tacks is if it's something that has a lot of surface area in contact with the plate itself, you're going to have to kind of get after it to get it loose. So if the pieces are too small where it touches the plate, you have to be careful because you can, like, there's enough resistance. You can break your print trying to get it to pull loose from the top of it here. So yeah, it's but these work great. These you can see. Matter of fact, you can see where I've been printing those are my sticky fingers as well as my parts for my Bigfoot print on there. And then here's the other part to the Bigfoot. You can see the imprint of them. So this does leave a smooth surface on your print side. So like when you're printing, like say the what you call it, the things that Jack likes to do, the light boxes. So if you wanted it to be smooth on the front of the light box, this would give you a smooth finish as opposed to that rippled effect from the PEI. But I like these. Some folks talk bad about them, but I like them, especially like I said with things that have a more of a tendency to break loose from the print bed. I have two build plates for both of my machines. I got 2 of the super tacks and then I got 3 of the PEIs. And the same plates work with the P2 and the X2D.
Maui says, when I began laser engraving, I swore I would never do tumblers. However, in recent months, I find 80% of the money I make laser engraving is made by tumblers. Clack's orange tumbler got me started. Yeah, you're not wrong. Depending on the market you're in and how you can price them in your margins, yeah, you can definitely do well with that, especially if you can do kind of smaller run orders and still make it worthwhile for you. A lot of the bigger places don't want to do, customizing tumblers for a wedding party or a family reunion or things like that. They want to do 50 to 100, the same thing, and so that's where, as a smaller business or maybe with a smaller operation, you can snag some of that. But I get you. I did a lot of tumblers when I first got my lasers and kind of got wore out on them. So that's where I haven't done as much of them in my stuff. It's just got tired of it. But I do have, speaking of, on Omtech.
I was fixing to say, you've been spending the past 2 or 3 days putting something together for tumblers, haven't you?
Yeah. So I came across a nice little gem.
Ooh, that ought to be a log against them legs right there.
I forgot that I had this. So this is a Chuck style rotary. It's from Commarker for their UV lasers and a few others, but it has that 4-pin aviation style plug.
Huh.
And it plugs into the Polar 2, and I believe it would plug into the Polar Light. So I haven't actually hooked it up and dialed it in or tested to make sure it works. It should, though, from what Omtech has told me. I'll just need to dial in the steps per rotation and things like that. And then hopefully I'll see what size. So it fits this 20-ounce tumbler, no problem. I'll have to see if a 30 will fit in there without a lot of adjustment either. But it's kind of a cool thing that I remembered I had this. I remembered it had that plug.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a quick, hey, let's start getting this plugged in. So just add it to the list of things I'm hoping to do in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's now we just got to figure out what the ETA on that video is going to be. What's up, Jerry? How are you? 3DHP in the house. I watched y'all's show the other day again. I usually just sit in the corner quietly because I'm usually working. I think I was building stove covers during Jerry's show. Jack said he used the cryo grip glacier plates. Yeah, I've heard of those, and I think it's basically the same thing. It's just a different. I don't remember who makes them, but it's just a different. Is that who it is?
Yeah, those are the blue ones you see everywhere.
Yeah, but it's same basic principle.
Matter of fact, I think I'm kind of getting close to wearing out the current plate, and I have a spare. I always like to have a spare, like
oh yeah,
use the last one. So I might have to pick up one of those here as the replacement / option. So
yeah, like I said, the super tacks are really nice if you're printing. Like the biggest, this is my little. These are my. It's in a 3D printed box, by the way. These are B-roll lens filters. And what this is, in case you haven't saw it, is my Logitech cameras that I use for B-roll. They're bad to white out when you're looking at lasers directly. And so I 3D printed this little part that attaches to the front of the camera with some adhesive, like some 3M gum looking adhesive. And then it has a window that you can put this little piece of, and I've got a bunch of different pieces. You can put these pieces of laser safe glass in to where when I'm doing a video, my video is not washed out from the laser, and you're not getting that blue flashing light. And so, matter of fact, this is my little B-roll camera right here. So this is the one I use for my B-roll all the time. And so you can see right now I don't have the lens in there. The lens has been removed. But you can take one of these little pieces and you just slide it in that slot and push it down in there. And now it has its glasses on for lasering. And then when you're not using it, you just pull that out and it's back to a normal camera. And how this started was I used to take painter's tape and tape a piece of this to my camera. And I'm like, you know what? I got the means to fix that now. And so I designed this. Well, because of that slot right there, this prints without supports as long as you print it like this. Like it has to be printed like that, or else you have to have supports everywhere. And so I use the super tack plates for sure on it because it holds it just like this and it won't tip over as easy. Whereas with the PEI plates, if you're not careful, if it cools off any, it's just going to fall over if you don't use supports.
So I'm really surprised you don't have one of these cryo grip plates.
Really? Kim and Garrett, message me there, Kim or Garrett, whichever one it is. But this is made for my Logitechs, but it'll work with others as well. But that's my little B-roll camera.
I mean, right here should be all it takes to get you to order one of these.
Well, I hadn't never seen an orange one now. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, look at that.
Huh. Well,
you're slacking.
Right now I ordered me some orange Hawaiian shirts for the trip to Texas right now. So, but yeah, Kim or Garrett, whichever one of y'all that is, send me a message. Y'all got the printer. All y'all need is the file, right? And then if you got some orange laser safe acrylic laying around from an enclosure or something, it's pretty easy to cut these with a laser. The only thing I screwed up on is I should have made my little squares a little bit bigger and put myself like a little more room for a handle, because sometimes my fat fingers don't grab them real good. But yeah, so yeah, I can ship you one, or you can have Garrett print you one. That's just an easy little print. But anyway, that was that was one of those. I'm waiting on a machine to finish a job, and so I jumped into Fusion one day and designed that real quick. Kind of like my can holder mug.
Yeah.
Well, Peter's wanting to know if I'm planning on. I guess I could. I mean, y'all, if you want me to cut you out some and send you a cover, email me. I don't want to put them on Etsy because I don't think it's worth the trouble of setting everything up on that. But
yeah, because that's the. I think they still do sell that camera. That's a Logitech, what, 910 or something?
Yeah, this is a 910. Yeah, you can still get it. It's there's several different models of it, but yeah, it's this one. Matter of fact, this one may be the older one. I've got 3 of these. I got another one somewhere. Oh, my overhead. Well, the one that's on my overhead on my table right there. That one there that looks at the table is one of these too. I think that one's actually the newest one. Because I had used my old, I can't tell because my little thing covers it up. But yeah, I think this is a C390 or C930.
Yeah, 920.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're $70, 1080p. They still make them.
And they work good. They'll even work like USB hubs. They're not like really particular. Now you can't usually run 2 of them on a USB hub unless it's a powered USB 3 powered hub. But yeah, they work great.
You'd be like me and have the weird little AI enabled camera that won't stop turning on its stupid.
Yours was like
yeah. I'm like, and then you gotta do this to make it stop.
This is an old school dumbed down camera, but you get these you get this little base right here, and then I got this little ball that I can adjust it, and plus it's got like this little tilt thing right here too, and then this part like swivels, so I can actually like raise it up and down. It's very versatile. Like I said, I've got one of these as my main camera in the house. Like these actually, and they have mics on them too, and the mic's not awful, but I usually mute it or turn it down anyway. And then of course I got my little light. But yeah, email me if you're interested in one of those. Like I said, yeah, just shoot me an email if you want the file. Are you looking at getting the file, or do you want me to send you one? Because I do have some laser safe acrylic from some enclosures that I've built and tore apart over the years, and that's where I got that. And I know Steve's got a bunch of it too. I know exactly. Yeah, I know what you got.
What do you mean? I don't have any extra. This is from that great carve enclosure that they made briefly and then stopped selling.
Yeah, see, this is actually from Photonic. Was it
JTech Photonics?
Yeah, JTech. This was in one of my enclosures that I built, and I took it out when I tore it apart. So I know that's laser safe. And I've got some smaller pieces of it up there too. Matter of fact, so I've got acrylic.
Rob, yes, that was the Com Marker R5. I'll drop a link for that if people want to take a look at that. But that has that aviation plug on it, so I'm going to do some testing, hopefully on the OhmTech Polar 2 and maybe even the Polar Lite if that works as a rotary option. That'd be really cool. So, hopefully
that's a nicer
that while it's doing something else.
That's a nicer Com Marker rotary than I've got. I've got the one that looks like an industrial, like really robust one. I don't have that one.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. It has you can take that kind of tailstock on or off, and it's got the rollers to be supportive and such. So, which I tested, and it can have that in there, and the head shouldn't hit it. So,
I was wondering about that, but I figured you were going to at least try it and see.
Yeah,
because that little adjustment knob looked a little tall.
Well, but it sits on the inside of it, and then the head, by the time you get it to the center, because the head won't move forward or back. It's always going to be going side to side. And
that's true. That's true. I forgot. I don't know what I was thinking it would. I was worried.
I had the same thought until I dropped it in. I'm like, oh no, it'll clear.
Yeah, as long as you set the Y by hand, you're good.
Yeah. Jerry Richmond's asking, is that pressure treated wood holding up that OhmTech 2? Don't drop it on your foot. No, that's a pretty well built cart or what do I call these things? I don't know. They're I've built a few of them for my
Workstations.
shop, kind of a workbench. There you go. And so it's built up of some pretty solid dried squared pine and then some plywood and whatnot. It shouldn't need to be pressure treated, so it shouldn't get wet. It shouldn't ever touch the floor because it's on casters. But I'll tell you though, that machine's not light. You do want a fairly sturdy bench to put that machine on there.
Yeah,
So.
ain't that the one that had the MDF on it? I was looking at it the other day.
Yeah, it's got a 3/4 inch solid top for MDF on there. So
yeah,
I will do my best not to drop it.
Yep. Greg says, I'm beginning to think my laptop won't handle multiple cameras in my shop. If they're all streaming at the same time, that can be a problem. But most software like OBS or whatever, you can actually set it to disconnect the camera when it's not in use.
Deactivate it.
Yeah. And I did a video on that the other day. If you go to the other channel and look at my video I did about my streaming setup, there's a little checkbox in StreamYard or Streamlabs or OBS that you can tell it to, when you're not using the camera, cut the feed. And that'll save some of your computer's resources if your computer's struggling. So yeah, little tip just in case. And if you didn't know I had the other channel and you want to go look at that video, of course I can give you a link to it.
You could.
Yeah, I gotta go find it. There you go,
Rob. I'll definitely be testing that out, and I'll try to follow up. If you're not, if you're on Facebook, be sure to follow me there because, like I say, I do drop little kind of in progress teasers in there, and there's a little more back and forth in that one too. If people want to leave comments and such. So,
yep. Well, there you go for your watching enjoyment later. If you want, if you're interested in streaming or how I stream or how this little production works, that's a video I did the other day on my other channel. It's kind of like a quick overview. I didn't go into like setting everything up or none of that. It was just a quick overview, a few little tripping hazards that I know of, just an introduction to it. So there you go. But anyway, so what is upcoming? Because we're getting close to time to shut this thing down. We got 3 minutes remaining on the timer. I guess the next big thing is going to be the next level over in Dallas, right? That's going to be where we have our bike race.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what, the 26th through 29th, 26th.
Yeah.
Well, you're showing up the 26th. It's
I guess that depends on your arrival and departure date.
Clack's going to get there the 26th. I will likely get there early on the 27th. We'll both plan on being there through Saturday evening, and taking off for somewhere that Sunday. That's everybody send good thoughts my way. Make sure that it's like the first week of the semester for us. And I've already had a couple things happen where it's put little strain on that week, and I'm just hoping that I don't have another domino fall. But as of right now, I should be able to get there, enjoy that event and such. But locally, let's see, I get coming up the second weekend in August. I will probably be at my, hold on, I can type. I can't type. I will be at, right. My model airplane club that I haven't been doing enough with this year. We have our big Warbird fly-in, and so that'll probably be a thing I'm going to be hanging out at a little bit. And probably be putting some things out on that secondary channel. So that's my Vintari Outdoors channel, and I'm hoping I got to see if the stars align this week. We are going to get a quick little like cold front coming through. We're going to have a nice cool evening and some mild days. I'm going to see if I can maybe get out to one of the local state park campgrounds and finally test out that tent I rehabbed this spring. And maybe have a little fun content around that. So if you're not subscribed to my second channel, which I don't have a link ready for right off the top of my head,
I think isn't it in the description?
it's in the description of my video for sure. So head over to my channel, check that out. Follow if you want to follow along kind of some of the outdoor stuff, the things I get into outside the shop. It's very randomly when I get to it. I hopefully will pick up some steam on there as well. But if you're in the area, you want to see some very cool airplanes, model airplanes and such, I'll try to share a little information on that at some point. And I'll be there some, so you could come hang out and see that other side of the hobby as well. But yeah, the next big event related to this be that maker event there. There we go. Thanks for grabbing that.
Yeah.
And then in October, usually mid-October, here they do have the Minnesota Woodworkers Expo. It's up at the Minnesota State Fair. I'm not going to be doing a whole demonstration thing, but if I can, I'll probably try to make my way up there and wander around and check things out. So as that gets closer, I'll definitely share out if I'm going to be in that neck of the woods as well.
Yeah. Rob says, thanks for switching to the orange tumbler. I actually got two of them. And reason is sometimes I get busy and I go in the house and I leave one places. So I end up with two of them by the end of the day. So I got both of them out here today.
I'm going to start using this one.
You'll definitely not hydrate very well with that one.
It's not about hydrating.
Rob was asking where Fluffy's hiding. She goes outside a lot of times at night, and they catch these little voles or moles or whatever these things are, and they leave them on the rug outside the door, or either they bring them just inside the door and lay them on the floor. So I'm assuming that's where she's at. They just, her and the other cats just stay out there hunting at night, and then during the day she passes out asleep. But that's about it, guys. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot else going on. I mean, I'm almost, I'm not going to say I'm caught up, but I'm almost caught up. I've got stuff I want to do. But with band camp starting this week, my dad duties are going to be hitting me pretty hard. I don't know how that's going to affect me. I do want to try to get me a video out on the X2D this week. I'm still doing some testing with the Creality. I'm still using it. But like I said, it's not something I use a lot in daily jobs, because I had a quote today for some business cards, and I thought if I get this job on these business cards, then I might could use it for that. But I haven't heard back from them on that yet. So I hate to just sit and burn through stuff, just doing it to be doing it. I prefer to use jobs or projects that I'm already doing to test the machines with. But yeah, like I said, I should be getting the UV module for it pretty soon also. And then other than that, I do have a new yard robot that I'm testing out. I was a little discouraged with it at first, and then I got wondering why they sent me an extra set of wheels for it. And I figured it out, because the first set of wheels were not ideally suited for my terrain. So I'm still testing that. It's called the Tron from Air Seekers. So if you've watched the other channel or the other Facebook page, or I think I even shared a couple pictures on this Facebook page, I now have my third robot helping me with the grass cutting. So, and then of course the bike will be here sometime this week, hopefully, because all the reviews said that it arrived 4 days from the order. So we'll see.
They're pretty quick to ship them out. I think they come from Texas, maybe. I don't remember.
Well, if it comes from Texas, it may be quicker than that then, because typically my bamboo stuff comes from Texas, Bamboo Labs, and it's literally 3 days and it's here. So it maybe getting the order in today was a good thing. So, and one more thing, I want to stop. Thanks to Kim for stopping by. Kim and Garrett Make It. If you're not familiar with them, which if you know us, you probably know Kim and Garrett. They do laser stuff. I think even Garrett recently got him a 3D printer to play around with. So go check them out.
Definitely. And they'll be at the maker event as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, aren't they speaking?
Yeah, they got some sessions on it.
So I think they're going to be doing some classes.
We'll be in the back heckling.
Yeah. Yep. But that's about it, guys. appreciate y'all for coming, and we'll see you guys next year. Next
year. Wow, you taking a long break?
I don't know what I was reading the comment, and year came in my head. I got to get some sleep. I've been painting all day, trying to get my new room ready. So, but yeah. Well, they said they are going to be there. So, and you, of course, I thought I saw their name as one of the instructors. So, all right. Well, if me and Steve maybe having a bicycle like race nearby, because I think I can take him. We've got the exact same bike, and his air drag and weight signature is totally different than mine. So I think I might could get him.
I'm gonna be putting that mod on there. I'm gonna have my voltage is gonna stay higher than yours.
You gonna have a Predator generator on the back of it. Y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all.
We'll see you, everyone.
Oh.